So I went ahead and created a new project. I named it Implicit Intent Test. You can name whatever you want. It's a very simple one here. We're just trying to learn how to use implicit intents. We've seen explicit intents many times before, but now we're gonna look at the implicit intents. Very good. So we have here, I went ahead and created a button. I centered it in the middle here, put it constraints and everything. Of course, I just left the button ID as such it is because we just have one button here. That's totally fine. Going to main activity here, I went ahead and instantiated a button defined by ID and then created the onClick. Okay, this should be easy for you to do. And inside here, what we're going to do is we are going to create an implicit intent, which will allow us to send a message. Okay, and then because it is an implicit intent, and then the Android operating system should be able to serve us with all the different options with which we can send that message. All right, so how do we do that? Well, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and instantiate an intent as such. Call this intent. Let's go ahead and import that. It's equal to new intent as such. Very good. Now, because we know this is going to be an implicit intent, we have to pass the actual action here. What action are we trying to do? Well, we have to go and say intent, and we want the action send. All right, there's different actions that we can pass here, as you can see. But what we want is the action send, which means it's going to trigger the operating system and say, this is an intent send, which means we want to send something. The user wants to send something. We don't know what, but at least we know this is the kind of intent that we need. That's it. So at this point here, nothing is different from the way we've done before, except that here we are passing the action, the actual action. Notice here we are just getting the intent and invoking the action send, which is the static final instance variable of our intent class. That's it. All right. So now that I have my intent, I'm going to pass all of the information that I need to pass around. So I'm going to say intent dot. First of all, I'm going to set the type of the data that I'm going to be passing, right? There's different kind of types. And here I'm going to just say it's going to be plain text / say plain like that. So text plain. So it's just text. That's what we're saying, okay? And then I'm going to keep going intent dot put extra. Remember, we can just put objects inside of our intent, just like we've done before. In this case here, I'm going to go ahead and say the extra that we're going to put here is going to be of type intent, of course, dot extra text. And what is it I'm going to be adding? Right, so this extra text here is going to be the key, because remember, put extra, it's just key value pair. So what is the message I'm going to pass? So I'm going to say this is the message implicit intent, like that. You can put that in a new line so we have all that space and close all that. There we go. All right, very good. So I'm going to keep going intent that put extra again. What is that I'm going to put? Well, I'm going to put the actual message. So I'm going to say intent dot, look at that. I can actually add the extra subject as the key, and the subject is going to be what? I'm going to say do not worry. This works. Okay, there we go. Now we're not done yet, because remember, we need to go ahead and say start activity and pass our intent, just like what we did before with explicit intents. Now, the idea here is that because the action is going to be send, the operating system is going to give all the options, like I said, that pertain to sending information. And we know that the type of data that we're sending is just plain text, right? Here we are setting the actual text or the information that I want to send. Okay, we're saying the information we're going to send is going to be this one here. So all of this stuff you will see is going to be populated onto the app or the intent that will be able to send stuff, that will be able to send this information. Let's go ahead and save and give it a run. And there we go. Nothing new here. We just have this button. Now, when I click here, something's going to happen, hopefully. So click and look at that. And look at that. Now, because I've created this before, right? Testing and so forth. It just shows this share with Gmail because I've done it before, but look at other ways in which I can send. So now this is the operating system governing everything, right? Because we ask, this is what we want to do. This is what we intend to do. You, the operating system, tell me what options can I use. Look at that. I can save to drive. I can say, I can use the messenger. I can copy to clipboard. I can do Hangout, all this stuff. But what I'm going to use here is just the share with Gmail. Now, the moment I go ahead and say just once, at this point, everything, you will see what's going to happen. I'm going to click and voila. Now, the reason why this works is because I already synced up my Gmail with my emulator, which you should do for this to work. Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? But you should see at the top here, your email. Of course, you're not seeing mine here for security purposes. You can now put here to whoever you want. I'm going to put myself. And then look at this. Do not worry, this works. That is the subject. Do not worry, this works. It populates in the subject line. And then this is the message from implicit intent, which is the extra text, the actual message. It is inside in the body. Very good. So if I go ahead and send, it says sending message. We went back to our main activity. And if I go out and get out of there and open Gmail, look at this. Now I have here, do not worry, this works, was sent today. If I click on it, look at that. And there it is, the message. This is the message for implicit intent. And there we go. Now you can see that you can do all sort of things. Now this was very simplistic, right? Now try to imagine things you can do now. For instance, if you are playing a game or you have a game app and you want to share with the world how well you're doing, right? You can actually invoke this action send and take information about your score, about the game, whatever it is that you want. You can even attach pictures if you want, and then send them to your friends. You see? All of that can be done real quick without any pains at all, and then you have the operating system takes care of everything. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to play around with this concept, and I want you to figure out other kinds of intents. So there is this action send. Try to figure out by going to the android.developer.com and search for intent, action send, or implicit intents, and you can see a list of all of the things you can do. Go ahead and check that out and see if you can implement other kinds of intents, implicit intents, I should say.